And I said, have you heard any of that kind of threaded through the material you've been taught? He goes, oh, yeah. I said, so you've allowed this to take up residence in you? He said, yeah, that's right. I said, I think I know what your problem is. And so I had him with me renounce belief in humanism, Marxism, socialism. But I don't want to appear to be taking shots only at that. Almost anything that ends in an ism can be a risk. Not always is a risk, but can be a risk. So with that, we could also add, say, capitalism, because unrestrained capitalism gives us what Thomas Hobbes called the Leviathan. And so and by the way, Leviathan, all the teaching on Leviathan spirits today, right? So, I mean, anything that has an ism in it, these are the philosophies of men, and they take people captive. So as he renounced all of that, I said, now we're going to break the power of these isms over you. And as I did, these spirits began to manifest, and they came out of him. His, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, his crazy cleared, and he ultimately was able to return to school. I told him to guard his mind and heart and think really seriously about what he was allowing to take up residence within himself. And I said, if you're going to go on with this, I might encourage you to go to a Christian program that might serve you better, perhaps, than all that you're hearing here. Now, I know for some of you that's going to be a shocking thing, but I just want to use this as a moment to introduce the idea of philosophies, and we'll talk about these more later. And I also want to introduce to you the idea that demonization can occur in any of the three realms of the soul. And I've talked about this triangle before in our inner healing classes. He restores my soul. Demonization can occur in the will, where their wills become enslaved and in bondage, and they literally no longer can do the will or do the good that they want to do. Paul even talks about how he went through that in Romans chapter 7. Sometimes people become demonized in their emotions, perhaps through trauma or other things like that. And sometimes people become demonized in their minds because they allow their thoughts to be taken captive. And Paul says you have to guard yourself and be sure that you are not taken captive by philosophy and empty deceit, by the false teachings of mankind.